Hi everyone and welcome to week 11. I haven't done a video in a couple of weeks, so I thought I'd give you a break in terms of the video and the audio. And I hope that you look at the discussion forums and you try and participate when you have a chance in the discussion forums. So just a quick reminder that your second TLO assignment is due on the 6th of May. Please do get it in. We've got a public holiday and a weekend before the due date, so that may free up some of your time to do it. I know some of you are very busy at work and you are very busy with family and very busy in terms of personal life and work life. So I do understand that when you are able to, then you will do your assignments. But they are due on the 6th of May, so please try and get them in. Okay, so this week what we're going to do is we are looking at managing diversity. Especially if we're talking about leading others and leading others in our current context, which is South Africa, because we know that it's a country that's rich in diversity. And if we have to be effective leaders in South Africa, it means that we must embrace diversity and we must understand diversity. So this chapter and this week, we will be looking at the meaning of diversity. We'll explore the various ways in which we differ from one another, and we'll look at the value of diversity. We will also look at the challenges inherent in managing diversity. So what is meant by diversity? So diversity represents a multitude of individual differences and similarities that exist amongst people, and it pertains to all the individual differences that make each of us unique. It's also another way is that it's a mosaic of people who bring a variety of backgrounds, styles and perspectives and values and beliefs and as assets to the groups and organizations with whom they interact. So it's quite a big thing just in terms of what we are and how we play out who we are. So what we need to remember is that people can keep their individuality. People must acknowledge that we are all very diverse, and also we must see diversity as an asset. And you'll see in your textbook we talk around primary and secondary dimensions of diversity. Have a look at those. The primary dimensions will be ones that influence our early socialization. So it's things like age, race, ethnicity, gender, mental or physical qualities, sexual orientation. Whereas some people might include things like religious beliefs into it as well. And then your secondary dimensions are those personal characteristics that can be changed based on your experiences. So it's first language, your military experience, your religion also, because religion is both a primary and a secondary dimension. Income, work experience, geographic location, so anything that is different. So if I just think about myself, so my primary dimension, I would have a particular race, I'd be a particular gender, but my secondary dimension would be things like my geographic location. So I'm currently in the Eastern Cape. I did not grow up in the Eastern Cape. I come from Gauteng, and I was born and raised in Gauteng, and so my secondary dimension is that I've been able to change my geographic location. At the same time, just in terms of communication skills, in terms of education, those kinds of things are also secondary dimensions. So what we need to think about, if people have primary and secondary dimensions to their diversity, where would we classify kind of what certain things are? And so based on the things that we can change and based on the things that we can't change. So the things that we can change are the secondary ones, and the things that we can't change are the primary ones. Another thing that we look at is spiritual beliefs and values, which your textbook talks around, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But usually what happens is spiritual beliefs will mirror the structure of the society. And values will be something that you learn from the community, learn from your family, learn from your friends, learn from the context that you are functioning in. So what is the value of diversity? So we value diversity for a number of reasons, and you'll see that there's a table in your textbook that gives different concepts on valuing diversity and also gives a description around it. Please have a look at that. It's very important that you do. But there is something that we need to talk about, and that is ethnocentrism. So ethnocentrism is defined as the belief that one's own ethnic group or culture is inherently superior. And that is obviously something that we've had huge problems with in South Africa. And so anyone that is very ethnocentric will feel that they have specific expectations and specific beliefs, and that may inhibit the way in which people grow and develop and the way they interact and grow and develop with others. So the other thing that we also need to talk about is, how do we then manage diversity? So we can say that diversity is important for a number of reasons, as you'll see in your textbook. We can say what it is. We can say that some people are ethnocentric, and then we can say what happens when we do have a lot of diversity. How do we manage it? How would you, as a leader, manage diversity in your organization or manage diversity in your interactions? So the first thing I think in South Africa that we need to be very aware of is affirmative action and employment equity issues. And again, affirmative action is a legal mandate which focuses on the correction of an imbalance or an injustice. And so that is the one side of it. Employment equity is something else. And I think it's very important that you understand it and that you go and read up on it yourself as well. And then we can discuss it in the discussion forums. What we would like to think about in diversity management is how we make changes at an individual level. How do we make changes at an organizational level so that we have successful diversity management? Because if we're working in an organization functions in a particular manner, and we then have people that operate in a particular manner, and sometimes those two things don't talk to each other, and so they work against each other, and then we can't manage the diversity that is. So we need to encourage support and train assertive behaviors. We need to undertake active listening. We need to open communication. We need to avoid ethnocentric reactions. We need to help people to recognize, identify, and discuss differences. And like I say, differences are not a bad thing. It's great to have diversity in a team because you bring in different skills, different expertise, different experiences. We also need to encourage tolerance and sensitivity to cultural differences, and not impose our cultural beliefs or our cultural values on others. And we need to assist people to understand their own values and their own belief systems. What we also need to do is we need to help people identify similarities, because I think we're very quick to say, oh, but so-and-so is different, or so-and-so's experience is different. But we also tend to forget that sometimes we have things in common, and we overlook those things that are in common when we actually shouldn't. And then we need to help people celebrate differences. And like I say, differences is amazing because people bring in different skills and abilities and experiences and beliefs in, and it's a matter of building a strong enough foundation that people can work together in a diverse space. And we need to encourage the use of positive feedback. Just in terms of organizations, we would need to look at kind of the strategic objectives. We would have to look at performance areas. We'd have to make it a collaborative climate and an atmosphere and a climate that's positive for everybody. We also need to send people on diversity training. It's very quick for us to say, oh, but diversity is like this or diversity is like that. But we need people to understand what diversity is. Sometimes we're very quick to pinpoint certain things in diversity, and then only focus on those things when diversity means a range of things. And then we need to regularly analyze what's happening in the organization in terms of identity. One of the things that we talk about theoretically is social identity theory. And this usually is the theory that we would go to just in terms of explaining the challenges of cultural diversity in an organization. So the theory states that group members establish a positive social identity, and they also confirm affiliation by showing favoritism to members of their own social category. So it means that if you see somebody or recognize in somebody the same kinds of things, you would then tend to be a lot nicer to that person. So the problem with this is that membership in a group, if we use this theory, occurs along lines that will draw conflicts, because then it sets people up against each other and creates boundaries and marginalizes people. But it's very similar to looking at it through an ethnocentric lens. So people try and explain social identity theory. What we need to do is look at social identity theory and say, okay, what is it about the theory? Why do these behaviors play out in this particular way? So it's very, very important for us in terms of diversity, in terms of us trying to be leaders and leading others, to understand good, solid diversity programs, to have positive, diverse experiences with others, and to understand that it's absolutely necessary for organizations to manage diversity, and also then look at kind of how they manage the organization's diversity. So it's a very short video this week. Please don't forget to submit your assignments on the 6th of May, and I will see you next week for our very, very last chapter. Have a lovely, lovely week. Bye.